Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Maseches Taanis Daf Chav Hey. We are holding at the last line of Chav Daled Amud Beis, and we are in the middle of discussing the story of this great tzaddik, Rabbi Yehuda ben Doisa, who was zeicha to such great spiritual wealth, which was only paralleled by his dire financial straits, by immense poverty and total disengagement from Olam Hazeh. We spoke about the fact that he would suffice with one kav of carob per week. Says the Gemara in the last line, come out of Shabbos, everybody's oven was baking, he didn't have what to bake. Hava regila dvisu. Rabbi Chanina's wife was accustomed to lemichma tanura. She would heat up the tanner, fire it up, Kol malish de Shabbat, every Erev Shabbos. What would she put in there? Vishadya aktart. She would toss something smoky in there, something which would generate smoke. Mishum kisufa, to avoid embarrassment. This way it looks like they're baking something. Havala hach shivavta bishta. She had this rude, mean neighbor, Amra, who figures, look, michti, yadana the less luvalemiti. Look, I know they have nothing to bake. My kuli hai, what's all that smoke coming up? Ozla, she went vitarfa above. She knocked on the door. Ichsafa, Rabbi Yehuda ben Doisa's wife, got embarrassed. Va'ila lindruna, she ran into the side room. Isavad lonisa, a mess happened for her. The chazla tanura malilachma. This neighbor suddenly sees the oven full of bread baking. Va'agna, and the kneading bowl, molilisha, filled with dough. Amrla, she calls out to Rabbi Yehuda ben Doisa's wife. Planisa, planisa. That's the female version of Pliny. Mrs., quickly, I see, bring masa, that shovel, to kacharach lachmach, because your bread is burning. Get that shovel to retrieve your bread from the oven. Amrla. She responds to her neighbor, yeah, that's what I went to get. Af ana. Lahochi aili. That's why I went to the back room to get the shovel. Tana. In fact, we learned in a brisa, she was speaking the truth. Afi lahavi marda nichnasa. In fact, she went in there to get the marda, the shovel. Because she was accustomed to experiencing nisim. She knew Hashem wouldn't let her down and embarrass her. As soon as her neighbor showed up, she ran to the back room to get that shovel. She knew that the oven would fill with loaves. Okay, Amrle Dviso. So Rabbi Yehuda ben Doisa's wife turns to him and she says, Ad emas. Until what point can we hold out? Ad emas nezel v'nitztar kulihai. How much more tsar can we have? How much longer can we live like this? Amrla, he tells her, my navid. What should we do? Boy rachmi. Daven to Hashem, denis v'lochmidi. And they should give you something. Boy rachmi. So she responded, Boy rachmi, you daven. I know you're koyach tefillah, Rabbi Chanina. Daven to Hashem. I'll give you something. Boy rachmi. So he davened. What happened? Yotzes sokim in pisas yad. A form of a hand came down, extended from Shamayim. They gave him one leg, the petura of a table, that have a golden table. So he gets a golden leg. Chazia, Rabbi Yehuda ben Doisa's wife, saw Bechelma in a dream. They showed her a vision. Asidit tzadiki da'achli. The tzadikim la'asad lova in Gan Eden will be eating off Abtura de Dahava, golden table, the Islay Tlas Kari, which has 3 legs. V'iu, and they, Chanina and his Rebbetzin, Oicheles, or he and she, Oicheles Abtura, she's eating off a table, the Trey Kari, with only 2 legs. It's missing a leg. Explains the Maharsha. Which leg was it missing? Mishnah says, the world is supported by 3 supports. Al Shloisha Dvarim Ha'ilam Oimed. The 3 main elements of our service in this world. Torah v'avodah gmilas chasadim. They took away the leg of avodah, of tefillah, which was Rabbi Yehuda ben Doisa's specialty. That was his specialty in this world. And they took that away. The ikar schar is going to be missing. That 3rd leg was depleted, used up in this world. Hamarlo, he turns to his wife. Nichalach, are you okay with that? The Mechal. Achli kuli alma aptura de Mishlan. Everybody's eating off a full table. Vanan and us aptura de Mechser. We're going to be using a damaged table. She tells him, okay, fine, but what should we do now? Umay navid, what's there left to do? It's too late. We got our schar in this world, it's too late. Boi rachmi. So he tells her, Davin, dinish gelinu menuch, that they should take it back. So it seems like he was telling his wife to do that. Boi rachmi. So she davened v'shaklu, and they took it back. They gave a refund. Tana, we learned in a brayso, God l'hoya nes achron yosef in the rishon. In fact, the second nes that they retrieved it was greater than the first nes when they gave it. Why? The gemir. We have a Masorah, the Mehav Yavi. In Shemayim, they just give. It's a one-way street. They give. Mishkal is Shakli. Once they give, they don't take back. Here they gave and they took back. It was a double nice. And now she was okay with her situation. She embraced the poverty. It's worth it. What's a couple of fleeting years in this world compared to eternal reward? Chad Beis Shimshi. It so happens that one Erev Shabbos, it's called Beis Shimshi, Rashi says elsewhere, because the Ben Hashmashos of Erev Shabbos is famous. It's known. We have to finish our malacha before that Ben Hashmashos. It stands out in the week. So it's called Beis Shimshi, the Ben Hashmashos. So one Erev Shabbos, Chazei Lebarte, Reb Chanina notices his daughter is in a glum mood. Lebarte, Dahavas Atziva, she said. Amalei turns to her, Beiti, my daughter, Lamai Atzivas, why the sadness? Amalei, she tells him, look, I went to light Neres Shabbos, and I noticed I put in the wrong material, Kli Shel Chometz, Nischalafli B'Kli Shel Shemen. I substituted that vinegar container with I substituted the oil container with a vinegar container. V'idlakti mimenu erlu Shabbos. I used it to light Neres Shabbos. Rashi seems to say that it was burning already. That itself was a miracle. It caught fire. But her concern was that it's going to go out soon. It's not going to last too long, and it's going to be dark on Shabbos. Apparently it was too late to relight. Amarla, he tells her, Biti, my daughter, what difference does it make to you? Vinegar, oil, it's all the same thing. Misha Amar Lashem and Vidlak, the same Hashem who instructed that oil should burn. Hu Yaimar, Lechemes Vidlak, he too will instruct that vinegar will burn. In fact, it burnt and burnt. Tana, we learned on a brayso. It burnt throughout the entire Shabbos. Says the Marsha to be Mefarsim the Nes. Burnt and burnt. Until Motzei Shabbos, when they used that as a source for the Havdalah candle. She says that they will madlik another ner from this ner. They didn't want to have direct enough from this ner, which was created through a nes, and meant to have enough from a nes. Hidliku mimenu or Havdalah. Rabbi Chanina Badoisa havulei hanach easy. Rabbi Chanina had these goats. More soon will tell us how he got goats. Amrulay, his neighbors complained to him, come afset, and look, they're grazing in our fields, they're damaging our property. And he knew that it wasn't so. He was taking good care of them. Omar, he said, look, if it's true, as you say, that they're destroying your grass, nichlinu dubi. They should be devoured by bears. Rashi says, bears and wolves in the forest. Viloy, but otherwise, meaning, if indeed it's not true, they're being kept secure and they're not damaging your property, kol chada v'chada, every one of these goats, teisi le'urta, should bring towards evening from the forest. It should come out with duba b'karnayu, each one having a bear perched on its horns, which is totally miraculous. But this will be an indication that these goats are being kept in check. L'urta, that very evening, in fact, aisi kol chada v'chada duba b'karnayu, each one had a bear sitting on its horns. Says the Kada Kemach. Not only does the tzaddik himself attain higher levels and lives in a higher realm, even his belongings, his animals, override teva. Totally unnatural that a bear should sit on a goat, and the goat should feel safe transporting a bear. Havalei hahi shivavta. Rabbi Chanina had this neighbor, the Kabanya base. She built her home. The kishuri, the beams, came up short. They didn't reach the other side. Asala Kamed, she came complaining to Rabbi Chanina, what should I do? Amrale. She tells him, Banisi base. Look, I built my home. And the beams are not reaching the other side. Perhaps she couldn't knock down the house. There was maybe an almana. In any case, I came up short. What should I do? Amrale, he turns to her. Mashamech, tell me what's your name? Amrale, she tells him, my name is Ichu. Responds Rabbi Chanina, Amar, Iku, Nimtu Kishurayich. Iku, your name, your Kishurayich. Your beams should reach the other side. Now, why isn't this a concern of enjoying Maas and Nisan? So Farshim say, look, she didn't make the nes, he made it. Right? Now, he didn't have enough from it, she did. So, it was okay, she could use it. It's interesting that he would use her name, Iku, to bring about the bracha. The Ben Yehuda says, a person's name, the letters in a person's name are the channels through which Hashem channels bracha and shefa to a person. In order to give a proper bracha, he repeated her name, Ichu, Nimtuk Shirayach. When I took my kids to Reb Chaim Kanievsky Shlita in Eretz Yisrael, he asks my son, what's your name? Ech Karim Lacha. So my son tells him, Shloimi. Reb Chaim looks at him, Shloima. Then he gave him a bracha v'atzlacha. I always wondered, what's the insistence on Shloima as opposed to Shloimi? So actually, I mentioned this a couple of days ago in the Insights clip. The Gemara speaks about the one who was machmer not to call people b'chanichasai. So the Ben Ish Chai there says, it was actually Rav Ada Bar Avad, back in Chafam and Beis. I never called somebody b'chanichasai. The Ben Ish Chai there says that, say Mechaber, Ben Yehuda, Ben Ish Chai, he says that the Gemara means he didn't use short form names like Eli and Shloim. It was Eliyahu. No short names, no last names, no nicknames. And he says because he brings from the Ivri Nachal that a person's name, the letters in a person's name, describe and reflect his essence, his neshama. It's easy to wake a person up when you call his name because that triggers him, that wakens him up, that touches his neshama. So, expressing the person's name letter by letter properly, that adds chiyus, says the Ben Ish Chai, adds chiyus to the person. And that was the mala there. Like Harisi, I never called a person by his nickname, by his short name, even if it was a proper nickname. He was makbet to add chiyus to people. That's why he was Zeich. Mida Kedeked Mida, it contributed to his longevity, his arichas yamim. So we see that a person's name is a tziner, as a channel, a conduit for a bracha, for shefa, for chaim. Okay, so he gave her a bracha. Your beams should reach the other side, and that's what happened. Tana, we learned in the Brisa. Higiu, achiyotzu amalakan v'amalakan. The beams extended until you had an amar sticking out from both sides of the building, so it was an extra extension to highlight the nace and make it visible. Some have a different version of what happened. It wasn't just an extension, snifen asum. Snifen are like parts, pieces. So the beam had some pieces sort of that attached themselves to the beam, and that's how it got longer and longer. Tana, plimo yoimer, ani reisi, I see abayis. I actually saw that home. And I saw those beams coming out on either side in the schus of Reb Chanina ben Dosa's bracha and his tefillah. V'amalin, they told me, Bayis said, this is the very home Shakira Reb Chanina ben Dosa b'tefillasai, that Reb Chanina ben Dosa covered and roofed and fixed up with his tefillah. Asks the Gemara, Reb Chanina ben Dosa, we spoke about the neighbors complaining about his goats. He had goats. Mehichan havalei izim. How did he have goats? He was abject poverty. He didn't have goats. Don't we know the Chacham say in Megadlin Behem Madaka Eretz Yisrael? You're not meant to raise light animals in Eretz Yisrael. They're concerned that it might destroy the vegetation. So what's he doing with animals, with goats? Amar Pinchas, it wasn't his. Masa, there was a story as follows. Masa va'avar Adam echad al Pesach Beis. A fellow was passing by near Reb Chanina's home. He dropped his chickens. Perhaps he took a nap, left his chickens on the side, got up and left without his chickens. Reb Chanina's wife picked them up. He tells her, you can't use the eggs. And more and more eggs were laid, more and more chicks were hatched, and suddenly there's a whole farm there, which was distressing the family. A house full of chickens. He couldn't do anything. He had to hold on to it. But in desperation, he actually sold them. And he purchased goats instead, which is halachically permissible. As the Gemara Il Mitzvah says, if the effort doesn't justify the return, then of course you have to go ahead and transfer it. You have to go ahead and upgrade it to something which is worthwhile holding on to. So he turned the chickens into goats, and he still held on to it, hoping that the loser will come back to claim them. Pamachas, in fact, one time, Avar Isa Adam, that same fellow passed by, that fellow who lost those chickens years ago, and tells his friend, you know what? This place rings a bell. This is where I dropped my chickens. Shomer B'Chanina got word of the fact that this fellow is claiming his chickens. He turns to him, Simon, tell me, is there any sign, any identification that you can provide? He says, sure. Simon, he gave a simon, perhaps wrapped in a red ribbon. Oh, now we knew it was his. V'nata, let's say isn't. Chanina takes him to the barn, to the pen. He says, look, here are your goats. Actually, he tells him, here are your chickens. The fellow says, chickens? I see goats. Explain to him that the chickens turned into goats, but they're yours. And those goats that he held for Hashavas Aveda, those goats are those same that we mentioned earlier, who miraculously transported those dubim, those bears, out of the forest. So he didn't have personal goats. He was holding on to them, awaiting their owner's return. Now the same kasha comes back, and allowed to raise goats in Eretz Yisrael. How was he able to do it here? Some Farshim say, perhaps he put it into an uninhabited area. Gemara says, but midbar you can do it in a place where it's not going to damage other people's property. In the forest, so he kept them there. In which case it's mutter. Some say because it was a Shabbos Aveda, it was mutter. In any case, they weren't his. He was holding on to them faithfully until they only came back and gratefully retrieved his chickens, goats. Rav Lezer and Padas, the Chikele Milsa Tuva. Rav Lezer was very poor. Avad Milsa. In fact, one day he did the bloodletting procedure, which is generally followed by a healthy meal. He didn't have anything to eat afterwards. Shokol bar the tumah. In desperation, he took a young garlic, vishadi bipume, tossed it into his mouth. Chalash liboy. And he got very weak. Chalash liboy v'nayim, and he fell asleep, he passed out. Also, Rabbanu l'shayulibay. Chacham came to visit him. And Chazyu, they noticed him in his passive state, the kabachi v'chayich. First he was crying, then laughing. V'nafak tzutzisa denura me'apusei, and suddenly they see this flash of light coming out of his forehead. Ki iter, when he awoke, Amrle, they asked him, what happened over there? Do you remember why you were crying and laughing? My time of kabachas v'chayches, why were you crying and laughing in your sleep? Amrle, he tells me, you really want to know? The Havayos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem was sitting with me. I had this vision of Hashem next to me. And I asked Hashem, Ad Masai Tsar by Alma, how much could I continue having tsar in this world? And he turned to me, Elazar b'ni, my son Elazar. Okay, let's make a plan. Nichalach de Avchila Alma Mereisha. Would you want me to turn over the world, start fresh, recreate you? Efsha, perhaps, if I do that, Efsha de Misyaldas B'shata de Mezoni, perhaps you'll be lucky. You'll be born during a time when the mazel of mezainis, of parnasa, is strong. I don't know, I can't guarantee it. We'll try. Amr Kameh, I turn to Hashem, Kuli, hi, you're going to do all that, recreate me, Ve'efshan, you're still not sure? Okay, Amr Leh. By the way, that's why you say Mazel Tov. Sheshem Pinka speaks about this. A person is affected by Mazel, unless he rises to such great heights that is beyond the reach of Mazel, a Mazel Yisrael. But typically a person is connected to the Mazel, and that's what characterizes his personality, his mission in this world, which he has to accomplish. But in any case, when a person has a simcha, we always say Mazel Tov. It's a bracha, it's a tefillah. It's not just a nice greeting. You're giving a bracha that his mazel shall improve. He should be zeicha to rise to better mazel and to have more bracha. Something to keep in mind. You just say Mazel Tov. It's a tefillah. It's a good wish. It's a tefillah to Hashem that a person should be zeicha to a bigger and better mazel. That his mazel shall improve. In any case, I turned to Hashem and I asked him, please tell me, the years that I've already lived are more numerous than the years that I'm still going to live? Or perhaps the years that I'm still that have yet to live are more. So which side of the halfway mark am I on? Amr Lei, Hashem tells him, the chayes. The years which you have already lived are more numerous than what's remaining in your life. So you lived most of your life already. I turn to Hashem and I say, okay, Cain, if that's the case, I don't want you to trouble yourself to recreate me. I can manage for the rest of my life. Amali, Hashem turns to me, Bahai Agra, in the schar, the Amras Lebeina, that you said, I don't want to trouble you, Hashem. In that schar, Yahivna Lach La'amad Asi, I'm going to give you L'Olam Haba, the following schar. Telestri, 13 Harabasa rivers, the Mishcha Farsiman, filled with balsam oil, fragrant oil, Dachyan, pure Kiproras Vidiglas, flowing like the rivers Paras and Diglas Chidekel, the Ma'angas Behu, which you will enjoy L'Olam Haba. So I'm going to give you such a great schar. And the Rashba says, why is it that schar L'Olam Haba is described in these terms? Perfume, fragrance. He says, look, the Gemara Bracha says that there is one experience which primarily benefits the neshama. Ezu davar sheneshama nanis mimenu, that's reyach. That's why we make a bracha, kol neshama talaka, that even something which the neshama has a na, not really the guf, more than the neshama, the nefesh, the spiritual aspect of a person enjoys that more than the guf, and that also requires a bracha, says the Rashba, the closest to the sublime hana of Olam Haba. What's the closest that we have in this world? That's reyach, pleasant fragrance, which goes straight into a person's innards, straight into his nefesh, to his neshama. That's why Hashem used reyach toiv as a description of the schar Olam Haba. So he promised him 13 of these rivers. Amr Lekameh asked Hashem, hi, just 13 v'suloi, and no more? Amr Le, he turns to me, well, what am I going to give your friends? Explain the Rishonim. Everything is measured according to a person's level of achievement. Every tzaddik has a different type of Olam Haba. This is your chelak, based on your level. Amr Le, I asked Hashem, va'ana, megavra de lesle be'inon. Am I asking something from a person who can't give me? You have unlimited stock, give me some more. Okay. Machkan, he snapped at me, be a skutla, snapped his fingers, aputoi, on my forehead, in a playful manner. V'amali, and Hashem told me, Elazar Bri, my son Elazar, Geire, Bach, Giri. I shot my Giri, my arrows, at you. In a playful way. This must be Sisrei Torah, which we have a lot of time understanding, but that was the vision that he saw. That explained why he first cried, Hashem, save me from my poverty. Then he smiled when he saw what he was being promised. And the flash of light that came out of his forehead was produced by this finger snapping, so to speak, on his forehead. Reb Chaim bar Chanina gaza Taanis. He made a fast day. V'leisa mitra, and it didn't rain. Amalei, they told him. Var Rishon Levi gaza Taanis v'asi mitra. What do you mean? Rishon Levi, he made a fast day and it rained. Amalei, Reb Chaim turns to them. Ha'ana. Look, I am me. Habar Levi. Here's Rishon Levi. Two different people. He's greater than me. Can't compare. Of course, he brought results. He's a Rishon Levi. Imrle, go ahead and tell Rishon Levi, Denaisi. Perhaps he can come over here. V'nechaven dait, and we'll focus together. We'll daven together. If shedetabrit tziburi libayu, perhaps we will inspire the congregation at Tzibur. I'll soften their hearts. We'll do tshuva together, the asimitra, which will bring rain. But in Rachmi, they all daven together. The asimitra, no rain. Amalahu, he turns to the community. Nichalahu, have another option. Are you okay with sheyavei mata b'shvilenu? If it rains only an hour's schus, which isn't as great as rain coming because the tzibur in its entirety did tshuva, which brings about a greater bittul of the gzera, greater bracha. Are you okay if just us will bring the rain b'schus tzadikim, which perhaps won't be as in abundance as otherwise? Amalei, they say, yeah, we're desperate. Hey, go ahead. Amar, so he turned to the Rukia. He said, Rukia, sky. Kasi panech, go cover up with cloud. Let's go. La'ichsi. Sky refused to comply. Amar, he said, Kama azin perukia. Look how brazen sky is. Ichsi, then. Sky got scared. He covered up with clouds. Vasamitra started raining. Levi, Gazer Taanis, he too made a fast day. V'la'asamitra, and there was no rain. Amar lefanav, he turns to Hashem. Ribono shel olam. Elisa v'yashavta b'marim. Look, he went up to the Shemayim. Ve'nata meracham al banecha. You no longer express rachmanas on your children. Asa mitra. It started raining. V'itla. And Levi got hurt. He became limp. Amar Belazar. We learn from here. La'olam al yatiach adam dvarim klapi mala. A person should be careful never to toss, so to speak, words heavenward. Be careful how you address Hashem. Don't speak harshly. Sharei, because Adam Gadol, there was a great man. He spoke a bit too direct to Hashem. Ve'itla, he became limp. Umanai, who was that Levi? Asks the Gemara. V'hagarmalei. This incident brought about the fact that he became limp. V'halevi, ach v'kida kamei de Rebbe. Levi presented this acrobatic feat in front of Rebbe. Kido was where they would bend down, like just on the thumbs. He'd go all the way down to the floor and support himself just with the thumbs. Rashi says, "V'noishik as a ritzvah, give the floor a kiss," and then lift himself without any support, which was very strenuous on the muscles. And Levi was an expert actually in this thing. And what happened? Levi ach v'kida kamik the Rebbe. He did in front of Rebbe to lighten up the mood. And Gemara Bava Metzia says that Rebbe was in a constant state of tsar for Kabaris Yisrael. And Levi wanted to lighten up the mood a bit, so he performed in front of him, ve'itla. And he got injured. So that was the cause. How can we say it was because of what he spoke to Hashem? Answers the Gemara, ha v'ha garmalei. Both reasons were the cause of his injury. Explains the Ritva. This kida is a dangerous thing. And when a person puts himself in a makam sakana, then the Gemara Rosh Hashanah said that when a person places himself in a makam sakana, it's a masker avinoisav. It arouses his averis. In Shemaim they think, well, is this person worthy of being saved? And they start checking his account to see if he's really worthy, and they bring up things which perhaps they wouldn't otherwise. So he was in a makam sakana. He was doing this kida, which was a dangerous thing, and the fact that he had this on his history, the fact that he spoke like that to Hashem, that weakened his resistance, and made him vulnerable to injury. Rabbi Chia bar Lulang, that was his name, Sham Inu, he overheard Lahana Chanani, these clouds that were speaking to each other, to Ka'amri, they were saying, Nesu, v'neis Maya, let's go and dump our water, ba'aman Moav, in those nations. Omer lefanav, so he turned to Hashem, Ribono shel olam, shazat Torah lamecha Yisrael, when you were looking to give out the Torah, chazat al kol umas olam, you went throughout all the umas, nobody was interested. V'achshav atanois lamata, now you're giving them rain and not us. Shadu hacha. He turned to the clouds, dump your rain over here in Eretz Yisrael, and they complied. Shadyu aduchtayu, they brought it in Eretz Yisrael. Dorash Bar Lulaini. My dichsiv, what does the pasuk mean? Tzadik katomi yifrach. We compare tzadik to a date tree. Ke'erez balvan niska, like a cedar tree in Lebanon. Im nemar tamar. If the pasuk compares a tzadik to a date tree, lama nemar erez. Why compare him to a cedar tree? Im nemar erez. If it compares him to a cedar, lama nemar tamar. Why compare him to a date tree? Either or. Answer is ilu nemar tamar, v'loy nemar erez. If you would only mention that connection to a date tree and not a cedar tree, hoyisi aimer, there will be room to think, ma tomar engiz in machlek. Just as a date tree, once it's chopped down, it doesn't regrow. Av tzaddik, likewise it's tzaddik. Chas v'shalom engiz in machlek. He doesn't regrow. He doesn't have continuity. His children won't keep to his ways. It's only him without any continuation. L'kach namar erez, that's why we compare him to a cedar tree, which regrows, which has continuity. Ilu nemar eres. Likewise, if it's only compared to a cedar tree, v'loy nemar tamar, without mentioning a date tree, I would think perhaps my eres enosik peres, just like the cedar tree doesn't produce. Av tzaddik chas v'sholem enosik peres. Likewise, a tzaddik won't necessarily have influence on others, won't create talmidim. L'kach nemar tamar v'nemar eres. That's why we need both connections. Eres, that he regrows, he continues. Tamar, that he produces. Asks the Gemara, "Ve'erez gizay machav." Do you mean to say that a cedar tree can regrow once chopped? That's not so. Vatanya, listen to this braysa. Lakech ilon mechaver lokos. Suppose one purchases a tree in his friend's property with the intention of chopping it down. We have to leave enough on the ground so that it can regrow, so the property owner can enjoy that tree again. So how do you go about this? When he chops the tree, he does it a tefach off the ground, which would allow it to regenerate. He koitzes and chops it there. Besadan hashikma, if he's chopping off the trunk, the heavy trunk of the sikma tree, which was used for beams, shnei tefachim means to leave 2 tefachim on the ground. Bepsulas hashikma, a sikma tree which was never cut, he needs to leave more, shloisha tefachim, to allow it to regrow. Bekonim u'gfanim, if he's chopping reeds or vines, he can only chop past the first joint. However, when it comes to date trees or cedar trees, which don't regenerate once chopped, there's no point in leaving anything. You can dig below ground or mashush and pull out the roots. There's no regrowth. So how can we say that an erez has regrowth? Says the Gemara, typically an erez does not regrow. Here we're speaking about a different type of erez. You see, in the erez family, there are many varieties. And some in the erez family will regrow. Not your typical cedar tree, but the other types. Rabbi Barhuna, the Amar Rabbi Barhuna. Asora mini erozim. In fact, there are 10 types of erez in that family. Shnemer etem, midbar, erez, shita, v'hadas, etc. Tanu Rabbanan. Mas Rabbi Lezer. Shegozar shloish esri Taanis al tzibur, v'lo yard gesham. Rabbi Lezer ben Hokunus established the full gamut, full arrangement of 13 fast days when there was a drought and there's no rain, even after all that effort. Ba'achrona, the last fast day, they were done fasting, they were leaving shul, and there was still no rain in sight. Amar lahem, Rabbi Lezer turns to them, I have one question. Tikantem kvarim la'atzmachem? Have you prepared your kvarim? Do you speak to Chaver Kadisha yet? That's it, show's over. No rain, famine, prepare for death. And that really touched them, shook them up. Suddenly, go kol ha'am b'vchia. Everybody started crying out of desperation. V'yord gesham. That did the trick. It started raining. You know, Chaim Shalavet speaks about this. A person can motivate and inspire himself to no end, but sometimes you never know when it's going to turn on, which button you have to press to get it going. Just a short line like that. That shook them up after 13 fasts, which didn't do anything. But that one line, Rabbi Yisai, it's getting serious. Suddenly, kol kolam b'bchia. That's not right. Shuv Masa, there was another story involving Rabbi Lezer, same Rabbi Lezer. Sheyorad v'nei ateva. He stood up to daven as a shliach tzibur, v'amar esrim v'avar brachas, and he went through the whole 24 brachas v'lo nenem with no response. Yorad achrav Rabbi Kiva achrav. Rabbi Akiva got up after him. But Amar Yijimili says, Avinu Malkeinu, Ein Lanu Melech Ata, you're our only Melech, we rely on you. Avinu Malkeinu, Lemancha Rachem Aleinu, Hashem, for your sake, have Rachmanos on us. We want to serve you. We're your nation. That's all. That did the trick. V'yard Geshem, it started raining. Which Rabbi Lezer couldn't do with all his efforts. The Rabbanan were murmuring. Look what Rabbi Akiva achieved in such a short time, what Rabbi Lezer could not do. Yotza Baskel v'amra. A Baskel rings out and says, look, you got it wrong. It's not because Rabbi Akiva is greater in stature than Rabbi Lezer. No. Ella, you know why he accomplished what Rabbi Lezer couldn't? He had one advantage. He doesn't keep a grudge. He's easygoing. Rabbi Lezer didn't have it to that extent. So in this one meter, Rabbi Akiva was superior, and he brought about this nace, this change, to spitla gzera. Started raining. They speak about the fact that Bisman Hazeh, this is a point of a great chizuk for people. This is the tafkid today. Binad l'chaveroi. Rabbi Steinman speaks about it. Chaim Kanievsky. Binad l'chaveroi. Being mavar midoisa, not keeping a grudge. Be easygoing. In fact, there was a story, a rather famous story, that this fellow came to Chaim Kanievsky after many years with no children. He tried with him again and again, brachas, nothing helped. Finally, he just broke down. He says, Chaim, I need to have a kid. So Chaim Kanievsky told him, look, I can't really help you much, but I'll give you an idea. If you can locate a person who's mavra midoisav, who could withstand embarrassment and shame and doesn't respond, overrides his midos, go get a bracha from him. Okay, thank you very much. He left. He figured, easy as cheese. I'll go find a person who is mavra midoisav, no problem. I'll get a bracha. That will be the Yeshua. Well, it wasn't that easy. He looks around, just couldn't find anybody like that. Finally, one day, it so happens to be sitting at a wedding, and lo and behold, suddenly there's a ruckus. A fellow came running in, and he approaches one of the guests at the wedding, and he starts shouting at him, insults, embarrassing him in public. Apparently, they had some sort of interaction and some din Torah, and he's yelling at him, calling him names in public. And the recipient of these insults initially tried to ignore it, and he was getting beet red. He was about to burst. Now this fellow, our friend, who was looking for a bracha, came running over to him. He says, do me a favor, just keep quiet. The fellow turns around, who are you? I never saw you. He says, please, I'll explain to you. Just keep quiet. Let him yell, let him scream, don't respond. Be mavra midesech. So this fellow said, okay, I'll do it for you. And he waits and waits until this fellow just ran out of words. He saw he wasn't getting much, and he left the wedding. And then he started explaining to him the whole story. He says, look, I'm desperate. I need a bracha. Chaim Kanievsky told me, look, a fellow who is mavra midoisav, and look, I see a story unfolding in front of my eyes. You're being yelled at, being insulted. This is a wonderful golden opportunity. This is exactly what I need. And you somehow managed to hold your ground. You now fit the bill. You have the ability to give me a bracha. He says, please give me a bracha. He gave him a bracha. He said, have children. And he had children that year. So the power of Mavra Midoisav is unbelievable. Because at that moment, we're going to Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, Hashem is Maver, takes away his Averis. Mida Rashi explained there. He's like a tzaddik of the highest measure. And he has the ability to give brachas. Even when tzaddikim of such great stature couldn't accomplish it, he was able to do it. Okay, so that's the Eitz HaTov of Bisman Hazeh. It's a treasure. If somebody insults you, it's amazing. It's $1 million check. Take it for what it is. Appreciate it. Don't just tear it up. Admon's side, by the way, the Mabit has a beautiful pshat in this Gemara as well. He says, Rabbi Akiva was a descendant of Gerim, right? So he had a tendency, so says the Mabit, basically, he had a tendency to Olam Hazeh, to Nisyonis, etc. And he overcame those Nisyonis. He battled those Nisyonis and achieved what he did. As opposed to Rabbi Lezer, who was more of a pure lineage, and his neshama wasn't so drawn to Olam Hazeh. That's what the Gemara means. Rabbi Akiva was Mavra Midoisav. He overcame his tendencies. He fought with his Midos. And therefore, in a way, he had a mile. He transcended his own nature, and therefore Hashem transcended nature and brought rain. Tanu Rabbanan, Ad Mosayu Geshamim Yerdim, Vatzibur Poiskim Taanis. So it's raining. How much rain will come down, which will justify stopping the fasting arrangement? So suppose they fasted, they're about to start a new fast, and it's raining. At what point is it considered sufficient? Kimloi berech machresh. The amount of water that can fill the furrow, which is dug by the berech, like a knee-shaped part of the machresha, of the plow. So basically means once the furrows get filled with water. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Let's be more specific. Bechareva tefach. If you're speaking about dryish terrain, once the rain penetrates a tefach to the ground, that's sufficient. Bebeinanis, average land, tefachim, 2 tefachim to the ground. Ba'avuda, worked on land, which is more porous, shloisha tefachim, we need a 3 tefach penetration to be considered sufficient. Tanya, Rabbi Shimon Elazar Eimer, ein locha tefach malamala. When it rains, and that water penetrates a tefach coming from the top down, she'ein tohoim yoytzi lekroseh shloisha tefachim. There's no tefach coming from above which won't generate a corresponding response effect, in which case the underground waters will rise 3 tefachim, and it also does something to moisturize the earth. So basically, every tefach of penetration brings out and instigates the underground waters, makes them rise 3 tefachim. Vatani tefachim. Another brisa says it only rises 2 tefach. Like Kasha, the answer is depends what land we're speaking, what type of earth. Kan ba'avuda, if it's worked on, plowed on land, in which case it's more porous and soft. And in that case, only if the rain penetrates 3 tefachim, that's significant. And if the rain penetrates a tefach, that is significant. Let me start again. Lakash, the answer is Kam ba'avuda. We're speaking about worked on, plowed on land, which is soft. In which case, it's easier for the rain to penetrate, right? So in that case, if it only penetrates 1 tefach, it will elicit a rather minor corresponding effect that the time will only come up 2 tefach. Because it hasn't rained that much. It only came into this karka avuda 1 tefach. Kan b'shein avuda. But if we're speaking about untoiled land, in which case it's more hard and stiff, in that case, when it rains and it penetrates already a tefach into that ground, that's a significant amount of water, in which case it elicits that 3 tefach response from the underground waters. Amar Lezer, when they do nisach hamayim in the Beis Hamikdash on Chag HaShavuos, and as we learned in Maseches Rosh Hashanah, Hashem says the nisach hamayim is meant to generate bracha in the coming year's rain. So when they do that, one water source, the upper water source, calls out to his friend down below, the lower water source. Abba Maimecha, we know that there's Maim Alyanim, Maim Tachtoinim, beginning of Bereshis, right? So the upper waters call down to the low waters. Abba Maimecha, have your water flow forth. Kol Shnei Reim Ani Shamea, look, I hear the sound of 2 friends, Nisach HaMayim and Nisach HaYayin. One water source called out to his friend, due to the sound coming from those pipes of Nisach HaMayim v'Hayayin. I noticed, I observed the Malach who's in charge of watering the world. He's called Ridya, like a calf. Ridya really means a lashon of plowing, because the rains enable plowing. So he's Ridya, he's the Malach Memuna on the water. Dama le'ikla, right? He appears like a calf. Upirsa sevase, and his lips are pierced because he has to speak to the upper waters and the lower waters. It's like he's speaking the 2 at the same time. Looks like these lips are pierced. The kaima, and he is positioned between the lower waters, l'taimei and the upper waters. L'taimei to the upper waters, he calls out Amalei chasher memecha, drop forth your waters. To the lower waters, he says, Amalei, Abba Memecha, have your waters flow. Shenemar, Hanitzonim Niru Ba'aretz. Nitzonim are the blossoms which happen once a year. Likewise, here, the Nisach HaMayim is a once-a-year event. At that point, the pasuk continues, the sound of the Torah, of the ox, of the calf, Nishma Baratzenu, is heard in our land, that's the Malach ordering next year's rain. Mission spoke about the fact that we can sometimes have a fast day and suddenly it's time to rain. What do we do now? They were middle fasting. So they started the fast day at, let's say, Aleis HaShachar, or in some cases the night before. It starts raining. What happens now? If it's still before sunrise, they don't continue fasting. But afterwards, yashlimu, that they continue fasting. Why? Meiri explains, Netzacham is the earliest point in the day where a person perhaps will sit down for a meal. A laborer will perhaps grab a breakfast and run out to work. So, if Netzachama has not yet arrived, then the fast has not yet been activated, in which case you don't have to continue. But after Netzachama, you already skipped that first Zman Suda, potential mealtime, the fast has technically taken effect, in which case, once you start, you don't stop. And the place can point out that this is Dafka by Tzibur, because the Bezdin is Masna. They condition the fast upon this type of condition. We don't want to be matriach the Tzibur unnecessarily, but this wouldn't apply to a Yachid. So once again, according to our mayor, Neitzachama is the trigger point. Rabbi Yehuda no. If it rained before Chatzos, stop right there, don't fast. If it's after Chatzos, you have to continue. Why Chatzos? Rabbi Yehuda says, look, I know generally people eat right away, but Tamid Chachamim postpone their meal. Want to downgrade their Yetzer Hara, they postpone until the 6th hour into the day, which is 11 o'clock. Day starting at 6, 11 o'clock is called the beginning of the 6th hour. So once you hit Chatzos, it's past mealtime for Tamid Chachamim, in which case everybody gets drawn after that, and that determines the trigger point of the Taanis. Rabbi Yehuda no, even further than that. If it rains merely before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 9 hours into the day, the fast day has not yet really been activated. After 9, you have to continue. Why? Rashi explains, because the Bnei Melachim, the sons of royalty, get up late in the day. Late to bed, late to rise. They get up 3 hours into the day, as we learned at the beginning of Brachas. That's why we have Sefer Zman Krishma 3 hours into the day. And they will postpone their breakfast another 6 hours, as we said, take their time. In which case, breakfast time for them is only 9 hours into the day. And as long as there's somebody who has not yet skipped a meal, technically we can consider this fast day as having not yet begun, in which case you don't have to be mashlim. Shekein motzina b'achav melech Yisrael, we find by Achav. She's anam b'tesha shoyis l'mala. He only began his fasting 9 hours into the day. Shenema her iso ki nichna achav, and the pasuk considers it as a fast day. So since we find that even starting a fast day at that point is considered, we consider that to be the activation point of a fast day. So you have 3 shittas. What constitutes the first point of fasting? Netzachama, Chatzos, or Teisha Shois. Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya Goza Tanisa. He made a fast day. Started raining after Neitz. Sovar Lash Luminu. We figured too late. After Netzachama, it's been activated. Amalei Rabbi Ami, no. It's still early in the day. Koydem Chatzos. Vacha Chatzos Shanina. We learned that Chatzos is the trigger point, not Netzachama. Shmuel HaKatan, Gozer Tanisa, he made a fast. V'yordlam Gisham, it started raining Koyim and Netzacham right before Neitz. Kasvur and Hamleimer, everybody figured, wow, it's amazing. Shvach Eshel Tzibur. This is a true indication of the Shvach, of the good standing. It's a praise for the Tzibur. Look, it started raining right away. Armalem Shmuel responds, absolutely not, just the opposite. Em Shalachem Mashal, I'll give you a Mashal. What can it be compared to? Le'eved Shema Vakish Pras Mirabi, a servant requesting something from his master. Amar Lehem, his master tells him, Tnuloi, just give him his breakfast. Val Eshma Koile, I don't want to hear. Al Eshma Koile Shuv, I don't want to hear his voice anymore. Likewise, over here says Shmuel, it's not a good sign. It started raining right away. Shmuel HaKatan goes to Tanisa. There's another story involving Shmuel HaKatan with a fast day. They're fasting. After a whole day of fasting and davening, it started raining after Shkia. Once again, everybody figures, wow, This is amazing. Shivcha shel tzibur. This is a true shevach. This is a praise for the tzibur. After a whole day of effort, Hashem listened to us. Shmuel responds, Lo shvach shel tzibur. Actually, it's not a shvach for the tzibur. The other way around. I'll give you a mashal. What's it compared to? An Eved who needs a pras from his rabbi. And the master says, take your time. Wait until he's overcome with the stress. And then, only then give him. But the whole day of fasting and davening, now we get it. It's not necessarily a good sign. Says the Gemara, okay, so too early is no good, too late is no good. So what's good? What is considered expression of goodwill from Hashem? Amar, Mashivu Ruach Nashav Zika. You start fasting, the Tzibur gets up, Mashivu Ruach Nashav Zika. Suddenly it gets windy. Amar like Hashem, and Vasamitra, it starts raining. Now you know Hashem was makabel their tefillos because Hashem responded directly to their words. Maasav Gazru Taanis Blood. It was a story in Lud. They fasted. Suddenly it's raining. They went home to eat and drink and came back to say Halil Haggadah, which is the Hoidel Hashem Kitoiv Chazda, etc., which contains the pasuk of Noisen Lechem Chabas Hashem is mefarnes all of mankind. Now V'nei Mahal Mi'ikara. Why did they go home and come back? Why not say it right away when it started raining? Abai v'Rama Damar Tavai, they both explained, you know why? V'sha'ein oimrim halal ella al nefesh seveya. Halal gadol is only meant to be said when you have a satiated nefesh, v'keres maleya, and a full stomach. Rashi says, the pasuk says, Noisen lechem l'chol basar. It's appropriate to say it when you're full, as opposed to when you're hungry. So they went home, had a meal, came back. Now they were in the position to express their gratitude to Hashem. Noisen lechem l'chol basar. Eini? Is that so that a full stomach is a requirement for halal gadol? For Rapapa, there was a story involving Rapapa Ikla. He came to visit Lebei Knishta de Abi Guvar. He came to the shul of Abi Guvar, which was in Mechoiza. And there was a drought. Because of Taanis, he established a fast. And it started raining before Chatzos. So they canceled the fast day. And what did they do? V'amar halal. He said halal right then and there. And only then did they go eat and drink. Why did they do it in that order? And says the Gemara, that's different. Shani b'nei Mechoiza, those people in Mechoiza are different. They're party people. They're shchichabu shichrus. They were accustomed to getting shikr, intoxicated. And he's concerned, look, if I send them home, they'll never make it back. So he sees the moment. They davened, they said halal, and then he released them. Tosafos says that, in fact, he meant to do that. Halal hagadol is only meant to be said when a person has eaten and drunk. But he says, by Psukkah de Zimra on Shabbos morning, we do say halal hagadol despite the fact that it's still pre-meal. So he says that's different. Psukkah de Zimra is different than during Tefillah. The Achronim explain what's the difference. If it's during Tefillah, then you only say it nefesh sveya keres maleya. But it's only part of Psukkah de Zimra. You could say it even Shabbos morning before mealtime. The answer is because Psukkah de Zimra isn't a direct expression of Hakaras HaTov on a very specific, particular hashpah. When you're davening for rain and you're expressing your Hakaras HaTov for rain, then you're addressing that specific situation. It only makes sense to express it when you're feeling good about it. I'm thanking Hashem for parnasa when I'm starving. So it makes sense. Nefesh Svea, Keres Maleya, and then say, Neis Lechem Chabas. But Psukkah de Zimra is just a general, more of an abstract way of praising Hashem. Hashem does this, Hashem does that, Hashem is all powerful. It's more of a general, abstract expression of Hashem's praise and Hakaras HaTov to Hashem and for all that He does for us, but it's not a specific, you're not addressing a specific scenario, therefore it does work. You can say halal hagadol despite the fact that it's still pre-meal. Hadron Loch say the Taanis. Okay, let's do a quick chazar on today's daf. We had the wife, Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, who found the oven filled with bread. They asked for something from Shemayim, they got that leg, and they sent it back home. Rabbi Yehuda says, look, the same Hashem who decided oil will burn, will make vinegar burn as well, and it did. We had the story of Hashavas Aveda and the goats which carried home the beers. and the nace with the beams got longer. Thus, he had a conversation with Hashem, smiling, crying. He had a flash of light coming out of his forehead. We had the story with Levi, who spoke directly to Hashem, and that made him vulnerable to injury. We had Rechia Balulaini, who told the clouds, right here, as we have to throw your rain. A tzaddik is compared to a day tree. I say Paris, compared to an eretz. Gizay Machlef, he regenerates, regrows, he has continuity. Rabbi Lezer, who told the people there on the way out, what about the Kvarim? They started crying, it started raining. Rabbi Kiva was Mavram Midoisam, and therefore he generated responses from Hashem. We spoke about the fact that if it rains a significant amount, that can stop fasting. What's the trigger point? Netzachama, Chatzois, 9 shoys, we have 3 shites. Shmuel Cotton says the real shevach of the tzibur is when they say Mashav Ruach, Emer Lageshem, and they achieve immediate results. And that Hal HaGadol, we learned, is typically meant to be said Al Nefesh Sveya V'Keres Melea. All the best to you and much hatzlach.